All right, today we are diving into something really cool, the hidden magic behind a truly great musical performance. We're going to talk about the pocket and the invisible architecture that makes a band just click and makes an entire audience move. It's all about the chemistry of the groove. I mean, you know that feeling, right? You're at a concert, a show, and it's more than just listening to the music. You can actually feel it. The band isn't just playing notes up there, it feels like they're breathing as one. There's this undeniable, almost gravitational pull coming from the stage, and you literally can't stand still.
Yeah, that's really the heart of it. It's this energy in the room you can almost touch. It flows from the musicians, between each other, and then boom, right out into the audience. You can't see it, but you for sure can feel it. So what do the pros, the musicians themselves, actually call this thing?
They call it the pocket, and it's exactly what it sounds like. That perfect sweet spot where every single thing just locks in. It's so much more than just playing the right notes at the right time. It's about playing them together in a way that feels completely effortless, totally alive.
Okay, so what's really going on inside the pocket? Let's pull back the curtain a little bit and actually break down what creates that amazing groove.
You know, this is where we get to bust a pretty common myth. You might think that a great groove comes from just, perfect metronome-like timing. Totally rigid, technically flawless. But the reality? It's way more human than that. The pocket is actually built on things like synchronized trust and active listening. It's flexible, it breathes. It's pretty much the opposite of rigid.
So here's the absolute key. The foundation isn't about being technically perfect. It's about psychological trust. A band really finds the pocket when every single member stops just focusing on their own part and starts listening, like really listening, to the core of the rhythm section. We're talking about the drums and the bass. That's where that shared pulse, that heartbeat is born.
And this really explains why we in the audience can feel it so strongly. The stage is basically a giant magnifying glass. When that connection is real, it just gets amplified and blasted out to everyone. But if the performers are just faking it, just going through the motions, guess what? We feel that too. You just can't fake this stuff.
So that leads to a pretty big question, right? If the secret ingredient is trust, where in the world does that trust come from? Well, the answer, it might actually surprise you. It's a totally unexpected ingredient that honestly has almost nothing to do with music.
That's right. The most important, most critical work a band does to find that magic on stage, it doesn't happen in a rehearsal room. It's not in the recording studio. It happens far, far away from any instruments whatsoever.
And here's the secret. It's not about more practice. It's about shared life. It's about the arguments over what to play on the radio. It's the deep conversations on those late-night drives. It's all the inside jokes. It's the bond that gets forged by just being human beings, together, day after day after day.
So you can actually see the chain of events here, and it makes perfect sense. It all starts with that shared life off stage. That builds a deep, real, personal trust. And that trust is what allows for that seamless, nonverbal communication when they're playing. A quick look, a nod, just a tiny shift in how they're standing that says more than words ever could. And that, right there, is what finally creates that effortless, locked-in groove that we feel as the pocket.
All right, so why does any of this really matter? Well, because this whole idea of the pocket, it's actually way bigger than just a band on a stage. It really has huge implications for how we all connect in pretty much every part of our lives.
When you really boil it all down, what we're looking at here isn't just a musical concept. It's a blueprint for genuine human connection. The very same principles that let a band find that perfect groove, those are the exact same principles that allow any team, in any field, to achieve something truly extraordinary together.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, first, that real synchronization, that true connection, it comes from trust, not just from raw talent or skill. Second, those really strong bonds, they're not forged in some formal meeting room. They're forged in the messy, beautiful, day-to-day reality of shared experiences. And finally, when that chemistry is the real deal, it creates an energy that's so real, so infectious, that it pulls everybody else in.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Forget about music for a second. Think about your own life, your team at work, your family, your closest friends. Where do you find that effortless, synchronized groove? Where is the pocket for you?